Hello students. Now in lecture series of the basic unit of life, that is cell, today our topic is nucleus. Now you might be wondering why I am holding this smiley ball in my hand. Now actually this is the shape of nucleus. That is, it is spherical in shape, and you can imagine another small ball inside it, that is the nucleolus. So the structure which you see in your books is this. Now if I cut a section out of this, a slice, and this is what you will observe, the slice. So this is a section of nucleus, how it will appear when it is sliced. So if I put toothpicks in this or at various places and then bring them out, what will be formed? Pores will be formed. You agree with this? If I prick the ball, this soft ball with toothpicks, then there would be pores inside them, right? I prick them and bring the toothpick out. So there would be formation of pores. Now why are pores needed? So that there is exchange of substances. So the pores in section, they will look like this. If I cut it like this, straight slice, this is what is going to be like this would be the diagram. So now I come back to this, I put this ball away and we take up nucleus. Now you know nucleus is the controller or the director of the cell. So it is very important structure. Now I will draw a very small diagram here. I am drawing a rectangular shape. You can also draw a oval shape. So the border is the cell membrane, which I have already taught. Now the director or the controller of the cell. So I am drawing this circle, and that is the nucleus. I am drawing another one in this oval cell. So this is also nucleus. Now the white portion which you see around the nucleus, that portion is called as cytoplasm. And the structures inside the cytoplasm, they would be called as cell organelles. So we begin with the main director of the cell, that is the nucleus. I gave you a rough idea. Cell has boundary, that is a cell membrane. The dot, the round eye which I have drawn here, that is the nucleus. The white plain part, that is the cytoplasm. And in this cytoplasm, there are various structures. So these structures are called as cell organelles. So this is how this is the preview. Now let's start with the nucleus. Now history says that it was discovered by Robert Brown in 1831. Nucleus was discovered by Robert Brown in 1831, and nucleus is the largest cell organelle of eukaryotic cell. You should remember here, prokaryotes have nucleoid and no nucleus. So nucleus is the largest cell organelle of, I should mention over here, that is of eukaryotic cell. Now we study the structure as I had shown you. Now I draw a boundary over there roughly. The blue colored boundary is the cell membrane, okay, and the white plain portion is the cytoplasm. This is the cytoplasm. Now this is the structure, that is nucleus inside the cell, like this. Now when you see it in a sectional view, so what is there? It has basically four components. The four components are the nuclear envelope, nucleoplasm, nucleolus, and chromatin fibers or chromatin threads. So I have drawn here over here You can see now nuclear envelope, anything that is covering the nucleus, or you also call it nuclear membrane also. So the covering around the nucleus, that is the nuclear envelope. Now this structure, that is nucleus, is double membrane bound, means it has two membranes wrapped around it. So the first one is the outer membrane, this portion, that is the inner membrane, and in between the two membranes there is some space, and this space is called as perinuclear space. Okay, so the first component of nucleus is nuclear envelope. The nucleus is double membrane bound, means it has outer membrane and inner membrane, outer, inner, and in between there is a space, that is called perinuclear space. Now I told you there are, when you prick the ball, so there are pores made. So these are the pores in between. So these are the nuclear pores. Now the region inside this, the whole thing, the dotted region, that is the nucleoplasm. Now in this nucleoplasm there are again two structures. First is the nucleolus, and another, the thread that you are seeing here, thread-like structure, that is the chromatin. Now let's take their details. Now some cells, normally we say that there is one nucleus, single nucleus in a cell. But some cells, they are binucleated, means they have two nuclei in them. Example, that is Paramecium. So cells having two nuclei, those cells are called binucleate cells. Some cells have more than two, and those are called the multinucleate cells. An example is Ascaris. This is a worm, or you can also call it helminth or worm. Now some cells, they have nucleus when they are born, but at maturity there is no presence of nucleus, means they are devoid of nucleus. There is absence of nucleus in the cells, and such cells are called as enucleated cells. Enucleated cells. And examples which you have to remember, that is mammalian RBCs and sieve tubes. You must have heard about the red blood cells. It has concentration of hemoglobin in it, so there is absence of nucleus. So this is the introduction. Largest organelle of eukaryotic cell, that is cell organelle of eukaryotic cell, that is the nucleus, discovered by Robert Brown. And some cells have more than one nucleus, means that can be binucleated or multinucleated. Binucleated example is Paramecium, multinucleated example is Ascaris. And some cells are devoid of this nucleus, and such cells are called enucleated cells, and that happens at maturity. Example, RBC and sieve tubes. Now there is another structure. Okay, we'll take up later. We'll take up nuclear envelope. Now this inner membrane, as you can see, this is the inner membrane. This is smooth, and outer membrane may be smooth, or it is often connected to another cell organelle, and that is called as endoplasmic reticulum. In short, we also call it as ER, that is endoplasmic reticulum. And these endoplasmic reticulum are of two kinds. They may have ribosomes attached on them. So it looks like this. So that gives granular appearance or rough appearance. This is the endoplasmic reticulum. As there is presence of these dots, these beads, they are the ribosomes. So as this is having ribosomes on them, if you feel the surface, it would be appearing rough. So this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So I am writing rough R endoplasmic reticulum. If supposing in the mirror I am drawing endoplasmic reticulum like this and it has no ribosomes attached. So when you feel the surface, how would it be? It would be appearing smooth. So this is called as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, both are endoplasmic reticulum, but one of them is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, another one is the rough. So as you can see, the inner membrane of nucleus, that is smooth, and outer membrane is often connected to endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so this is how it is. And I already told you the space between the outer membrane and inner membrane, that is known as perinuclear space. Now coming to the next component, that is the nucleoplasm. Now this nucleoplasm is transparent, semi-fluid, colloidal substance, and in this you can see there are two structures. One is the nucleolus and the noodles which are spread inside. You know the threads, they appear like noodles. So this thread-like structures, they are called chromatin. So that is about nucleoplasm. Or you can say, see, this is the cytoplasm. So in the nucleus also there is some substance. So as it is inside the nucleus, so you call it as nucleoplasm. So that is nucleoplasm. We come to the next component, that is nucleolus. Now this nucleolus was discovered by a scientist called Fontana. It is spherical in shape, which you can see in the diagram, and this nucleolus is not bounded by membrane. It is non-membrane bound. You can see here it is not bound by membrane. And nucleolus is site for ribosomal RNA synthesis. It is rRNA. R stands for ribosome and this is ribonucleic acid. So this is ribosomal RNA. Now some cells, normally the cells have single nuclei, but some cells have more. So in some cells there are more numerous, and that is found where the activity is more, where the protein synthesis activity is more. In such cells, the number of nucleolus, now plural will be, when I am saying nucleolus, plural converts to nucleoli. So the number of nuclei would be more. In which cells? In those cells which are actively involved in protein synthesis. You know, ribosome is associated with protein synthesis. So here it is rRNA. So this is active in protein synthesis. Now we come up to the last structure, that is chromatin. Now this chromatin was discovered by a scientist called Fleming. And these thread-like structures, he named them as chromatin as it's stained with the basic dyes. You know there are two kinds of dyes, acidic and basic. And these structures, they took up the basic dyes. So he called these fibers as chromatin threads, chromatin fibers. And they are nothing, they are loose, extended and diffuse. You can see they are loosely arranged, extended in the whole of nucleoplasm. They are diffused and this forms a network. And what are they? They are nucleoproteins. Nucleo means it is having two things in it. First is nucleic acid plus proteins. Now, here I have written, now this chromatin fibers, during the cell division, they will, after cell division, see what we have learned over here is a typical nucleus that is in interphase stage. Okay, we have learnt here nucleus, that is a typical interphase nucleus, and this interphase nucleus has four parts. Interphase nucleus means when cell is not dividing. When cell is not dividing, the structure would be like this. But once the cell starts dividing, the chromatin fibers will convert into chromosomes. Okay? The chromatin fibers, they are converted into chromosomes. And these chromosomes are made up of DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid, and other proteins are the basic proteins which are called histone proteins. So that is histones. And they also contain some amount of RNA and non-histone proteins. So I once again revise the chromatin with you, and then we take up the types of chromosomes. Now chromatin material, chromatin threads or fibers, they were discovered by scientists called Fleming as they took up the basic state. They are loosely diffused inside the nucleoplasm, forming a network, and these fibers are nucleoproteins. From the word nucleoproteins, you get the hint that they are made up of nucleic acid. So it is made up of DNA and basic proteins. So you can just remember plus histone proteins. And this are the chromatin threads. Now it also contains some amount of RNA and non-histone proteins. Okay. Now ये जो like the histone proteins actually they wrap around the DNA. अगर आपने like if you have seen the DNA structure, it is like this, a spiral ladder kind. Okay. So this spiral ladder, this is the shape of DNA. Now this DNA, this is wrapped by the histone proteins. जैसे like you know a necklace, bead necklace. So it is wrapped like a, these proteins are wrapped around the DNA. Okay, something like this. So that is the function of histone proteins. Okay, now coming to the next point, I told you that when chromatin fibers during cell division, what happens to this chromatin fibers? Chromatin fibers during cell division, they condense, means they shorten and convert to chromosomes. Okay. So what we studied over here in this part, you have to remember we have studied a typical nucleus which is in interphase state, that is a non-dividing state. When the cell divides, the chromatin fiber is going to condense and convert into chromosome. Now you must be aware of this structure. You must have seen it somewhere like this. Okay. Now these are the four things which you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are called the chromatids. So chromosome is divided into equally half structure. Okay. And these are the chromatids. Now these chromatids, they are attached at a constriction over there. And this constriction is called as centromere. Now some chromosomes have another constriction also. So we call this as centromere constriction as primary constriction. Okay. So this is structure of chromosome. It is having 4 chromatids and it is equally half. You can see the two sides are equal. Now there is a constriction somewhere the chromatids constrict at a certain point, and that is called primary constriction, and the term is centromeres. Now next to the centromere there is a disc-like structure. Here there is a disc-like structure, and that disc-like structure is called as kinetochore. Now, depending on the position of centromere, chromosomes are divided into 4 types. I write down the names. Types of chromosomes, and this is decided on location of centromere. Okay. Now I am drawing a chromosome like this, and both the chromatids, they are equal, they look equal, and the centromere is in the center. So this is called as metacentric chromosome. Okay, you can see centromere is in the middle. Both the arms, that is upper and lower, they are in equal length. Now I am drawing another chromosome where the centromere is little away from the center. So what is going to happen? One arm would be long and another would appear short. As if you can appreciate over here, I still make it longer. See, like this. So you can see the lower are the longer arms, these are the shorter arms, and the centromere is not in the center, it is little away from the center. Such chromosomes are called submetacentric chromosomes. Now the third kind is where the two arms, one is extremely short and another one is extremely long, and such chromosomes are called acrocentric chromosomes. Okay, and there are another kind which are called as telocentric. Means the centromere is at one end and arms are seen like this. So these are the telocentric chromosomes. This is the telocentric. Now in some chromosomes there can be another constriction other than the primary like this, and this is called secondary constriction. This is called secondary constriction, and the part above is called as satellite. Part above that is satellite, and the constriction for this is called as secondary constriction. Okay. So this is little details which I have shared with you. Now we sum it up, like we have learned the whole of nucleus. Now let's check up with their function. Now I told you it is a controller, director, or you can say the headquarter of cells. So it controls all metabolic activities of the cell, that is function number 1. Now it has a genetic material, so it is responsible for the inheritance pattern. And thirdly, it regulates the cell division. When should a cell go into division? That is decided by nucleus. The fourth function is it is involved in synthesis of ribosomes, as it has rRNA, and it is responsible for growth of cells, as it has structural proteins, like it is involved in making up structural proteins. So there are about 5 functions: controls metabolic activities of the cell. Then this is the genetic thing. So you can remember it is responsible for inheritance of the hereditary characters. It is involved in, it is a decider for cell cycle. So it regulates the cell cycle. It is involved in synthesis of ribosomes, and it is also responsible for growth of the cells, as it is directing the cells to synthesize the structural proteins. So that's all for nucleus. In the next lecture, we'll take up the endomembrane system.